Alright, hello everyone. Here we are back for a master guide. This is going to be for hole 1. It's going to be a revision, and I also brought a different account today. I'm going to go at this with Apoc 5 just so we can kind of see, varying differences. And I'll try, I'm not sure I can. A lot of the accounts that I use for shots are kind of falling out of master from not getting, you got to keep them up every week. And so I only have 2 accounts that are in master right now. So I probably don't have the ability to go to any lower apocalypse than Apoc 5 here. For most tournaments, that's usually the kind of cutoff line that I usually suggest for playing masters. However, after seeing the course setup yesterday, I feel a lot more comfortable in telling you guys that you can probably get away with a much lower apocalypse in this setup. I was very surprised when I saw this setup, but not to mention, as short as a few of these par 4s are, it really gives you that ability to get a hole out with very short drives. And they also took away pretty much all routes to getting to the hole for anybody, even with a Apoc 7, to drive them. So it's pretty interesting setup, seeing it the way that it is. But let's take a look at some things here. And if you guys remember what I did yesterday, I'm pretty much going to do the same thing. Now that I've seen the hole one time, I feel much more confident in technique, the way that I want to go about doing this. I'm going to use, I remember 30% extra. Actually, I got to switch my bag. This one, 13.3, 30%, 10 or 11 rings. So get this grid on. So very close to 1 per ring or so. Should be able to go relatively full here. Just make sure that you stay away from that edge there, just to be cautious. And you can see with Apoc 5, it will be hard. I did not go quite full, but had I gone full, you might not be able to get through that fairway unless the wind was down, more in the 10s. So for most cases, you're going to be able to go pretty much full there, which is going to be kind of a useful thing. And I remember for this approach, I used a little overcorrection. It has to do with having a headwind. Addition to that, you got to make sure that that second hop over the rough is plenty over the rough. You can't take chances. Oh wow, this wind's going to be way up there, probably 12. You can't really take a chance with getting in here. You can see my opponent running into that rough with the second hop. So you got to make sure that your second hop is very clear. Plus, in addition, you can see I'm doing that plus 10%. So here's 11.8, which is almost max. 12.3 kind of maxes it out for a kingmaker. And you can see kind of what I'm doing. I'm going to try to offset my guide just a little bit less than yesterday. And here you can see that it's telling me about 13.3 rings. So that's going to be more or less. Just try to, focus on straightening up that needle as best as you can. There's 8 rings. Here's another 5.3, somewhere in there. I hit a great ball. So yeah, we probably had a chance. Took away that chance by hitting the great ball. So do try to focus on your precision, and hopefully you can have success with that adjustment. I don't see, if you're very precise and follow one of my two methods, well, I mean, it's the same method. One was just kind of winging it, and then this was just kind of trying to tighten up the offset guide that I was doing. And just kind of offset just a little bit less for the wind effect. And you'll see that you give yourself a very good chance at this hole. Either every time that you play this, if you bring in sniper, as long as you can drive it up there that far. The only difference being, let's just say hypothetically, I had a POC 4, for instance. You may not be able to max drive it out to where I just did. So you might get a little bit more towards max club. Might be something worth thinking about to potentially use a power 4 ball, or use a wind 4 ball with a close to power 4 statistic as well. Power 3 statistic. So, for instance, a bunny ball or a mummy ball from Halloween last year. Those would be kind of balls that I would recommend if you don't have at least a POC 5. A POC 4, you could just do max everything and probably get it down there very close to where I just did as well. But it's just kind of earlier clubs, or maybe even Thor's hammer, where you're going to start to run into some issues. However, as I mentioned, I think you could get away with technically, in a POC 2, a POC 3, more than likely you would just need a good enough ball to kind of cut that wind down. In fact, the more that you cut that wind down, the easier it's going to be. If you only have to go 10 rings, that's going to be a nice thing. So just something to think about. Good luck with that first hole, guys, and see you guys for hole 2 coming up.